you should already know what this is. And for those of you that aren't, just chill. See, we're going to get down to the other stuff here in a second. But what I'm always trying to get everybody to understand is everything is vibration. So, before we do anything else, just vibe. I've been calling you, but you don't pick it up. I'm so sick of it. Still I can't stop. I've been calling you about your kids and guys. Your selfish bird telling me to stay. I've run out of patience, but you don't give a damn about the things I do. I'm so sick of the ways What's up, so I take a look at my face, hoping you will still behave. Cause I will be here. Beats by Bliss on that music. Zone out. Everything is vibration. Got Johnny Sturgis. How you doing? I'm so sick of it. Still I can't stop. I've been calling you about your kids and guys. Your selfish bird telling me to stay. I'm running out of patience, but you don't give a damn about the things I do. I'm so sick of the ways So I take a look at my face, hoping you will still behave. Cause I will be here waiting. Just let it see me. Hit the like button if you haven't hit the like button yet. We're going to take just a few minutes to let a few more people trickle in, and then we're going to get down to the nitty gritty. Now, today, that's going to consist of us touching on the transits and elaborate on the aspects that might affect you. But then after that, I might teach a lesson. Who knows? I'm not a big fan of Mondays or the MoNdAy. So you'll have to bear with me. And I'm coming to you on this Virgo moon with no filters. All right? And I actually have this tab right here where I can send any of y'all the link and I can actually bring you on the live with me. I'm on that type of shit today. All right? And so, that's going to be interesting. But I ain't going to do it. I ain't going to do it. I ain't going to do none of y'all like that. But here's the thing. If you haven't smiled yet today, now would be the perfect time to do so. And if you can't find a smile for yourself, please allow me to be the smile on your face. Because at the end of the day, all I am is the smile on your face. All I am is the motherfucking vibe. Come with me on the trip through the galaxy. Flying high, away from from misery. Come with me on the trip to the galaxy, but your feet won't leave the ground.
Hit the like button if you ever hit the like button yet. I'm gonna take you to the motherfucking cosmos. I'm about to hit you to the outer rim of your
Come with me on the trip to the galaxy. Fly high, away from misery. Come with me on the trip to the galaxy. Fly high, away from misery.
peaceful aura, Miss Coast. Welcome to the motherfucking function. Hit the like button on your way in, like a light switch. Hey, hold up. My boy said, what's up? You gotta be careful. Diddy is a Virgo moon, and the moon is in Virgo. So we gotta be careful with this.
Come with me on the trip to the galaxy. Fly high, away from misery. Come with me on the trip to the galaxy. Fly high, away from misery.
Vibe is the most important part. Knowledge comes naturally. We all the way tapped in. But it's the vibe. It's the vibe that comes first. And it is Libra season, so I am matching all the way down to my motherfucking socks from spectacles to the testicles and all the way. Hold on. Before we even go there, let's talk about a couple of things first. First of all, for those of you that are not initiated, this is priceless knowledge of self. We are the Vibe Tribe. There are thousands of us all over the world. So we're not thirsty for subscribers. We're not hungry for attention. No. We're here to raise this vibration with knowledge and information. And it ain't going to be for everybody, because we're going to talk about astrology and numerology and all types of stuff that helps you understand yourself better and thus raise that vibration. So if you ain't feeling that, swipe up, bitch. Now, for those of you that are, you're welcome to stay. But if you come in on some troll shit or some fuck shit, either myself or one of my constituents, meaning my moderators, are going to ban you immediately. I'm talking about exile you expeditiously. And it's not out of hate. No, it's out of love. We have a vibration to maintain. And if you separate yourself from that, that's on you. You'll be able to observe. You just won't be able to be a part of this. Nor should you be, because you disqualified yourself. Now, Let me also take this opportunity to hip y'all to a badass website. I want you to click on the link right there if you get a chance and go to www.blu3aliens.com. That's Blue Aliens. They got some awesome astrology shirts. They got some crystals. They got them THCA gummies that'll get you right, but also keep you legal in just about every place you go. And there's also some other stuff that I ain't even gonna speak on, but click on the link and go check out their menu. And if you use the promo code PrICELES, do you hear me? You'll get 15% off of your order. And I'll get a little something from that too. And I need that little 15%, believe me. But yeah, that's www.blu3aliens.com. All right. Now, if you're on Facebook, I also want to implore you to go join Star. Yeah, you know who we are. That's the Society of Tarot and Astrology Readers. All right. And yeah, we do a lot of shit posting, so you might have to check your feelings at the door, but we also build each other up. And I'm letting you know, for y'all males, it's a goddess driven community. It's not a safe space for a man. They will get right on your ass. So don't come in trying to assert your male ego. Plus, I'm the king. And there can only be one. You hear me? But we have several brothers there. And there's several subgroups that go along with that. And also, who knows how many chats. But we have Raising Stars for those of us that are parents. We have the Tarot and Astrology Academy by Star, which is a purely educational experience. We have Snack, which is a culinary experience. We have Stone Starlings, and that speaks for itself. We have Spiritual Starlings. We have the Seeking Sage for those gamers. We also have our own Discord on Discord. So go join the Star Discord on Discord. We're also opening up a subgroup of Star that is purely catering to people of color also. So that'll be the Sucker Free Star. And so we have all types of avenues for you to explore. All right. Also, go check out my sister, Queen Machete, on Patreon, on Instagram, and on Facebook. She's an amazing astrocartomancer. She'll help you learn how to live in lunar synchronicity. She is my personal financial advisor, and she has made me thousands of dollars. And so she'll show you how to get the money and how to monetize your online experience, but she can't tell you how to keep the money. That's on you. And there's also Mercurial Wonder Astrology. They're on Patreon and on Facebook, so you can check them out. You can go to my personal group, Priceless Knowledge of Self. You can go follow my personal page, Priceless Knowledge of Self, if you really fuck with me. And then you can go check out Moon-Eyed Minds. She does Reiki. You can go check out Jupiter's Creations. She does music divination readings, and she also designs decks for those of y'all that are interested in getting into deck design. Go check out Dahlia Traga Balas. She does energy work. She has crystals herself, and she works with Santa Muerta. So you do got to be careful. Now, we also have She Is Me Tarot, which is another one of my sisters, Dewan. Man, we doing big things. All right. So before we go any further, let's vibe just a little bit more. I don't think you're ready yet. I need as many likes as I have people in the chat, and that's when I'll get started. But until then, click on the link and go check out the way. Just fine. Shout out to Beats by Bless Zone Now Music. We finna vibe to something that you made in just a few. Why have people seemed more crazy active in the past week? There could be a whole boatload of factors. It depends on what you mean by active. Steve Longsleeve. That's what they call me on Pornhub. No, they actually call me Dr. Longstroke. Or the 11-inch Grinch. It's all in the name. They should have called you lame. Steve. It's about that time we talk about what's going on in the house. That's Jupiter. Jupiter and Gemini. I've spoken on this several times. Lam. We'll talk about it more in just a second. But that's Jupiter. That's Jupiter and Gemini doing this thing. Thank you for taking care of that problem, Vanessa Marie. You always all right with me. Now, somebody over there trying to call me the warden, and they're pissing me off. Was it you, Diddy? Now, let's talk about the sun. So the sun is sitting at 8 degrees of Libra. And we actually have a solar eclipse coming up. But when you're looking at the sun being at 8 degrees of Libra, this is where you kind of fall into an objective perspective. You see both sides of the coin. And you could even see yourself way more concerned with other people than what's going on with you personally. See, that's why the sun actually falls in Libra. Because you're so caught up in other people, in their opinions, in their influence, that you yourself might not be genuine in your expression. Now that's on you, baby. There ain't nothing I can do about it. Now, I will say this. Appearances matter more than ever right now. And that can be a good thing and a bad thing. Follow me. See, when people are so caught up in the appearance of things, they forget about the substance. But there's also where people take pride in their appearance right now. So nobody wants to get caught looking fucked up. So people do care about what's happening a little bit more because they're worried about the reaction that they're going to get from other people. Yeah. And people become infinitely more reactionary. That's the thing with Libra energy is people are reactive, not proactive. They're reactive and interactive. Hit the like button if you haven't done it yet before I get mad and go home. Now, the sun is conjunct to Mercury, conjunct to the black moon Lilith, and conjunct to the south node. As a matter of fact, we're CaZiMi right now. What does CaZiMi mean? It means exactly conjunct to the sun. It really translates out to in the heart of the king. But what I'm telling you is going on is the sun is exactly conjunct to Mercury, or really Mercury is exactly conjunct to the sun because the sun is the slower moving here. And so when you have Mercury exactly conjunct to the sun, what that does is it gives you perspective. This being in Libra, you're able to see everything because you're separating yourself from the situation. You're able to put yourself in other people's shoes. But I can't say you can easily become too dogmatic. You can develop tunnel vision, and then you can end up giving yourself some mental exhaustion because you're so worried about what's going on with everybody else. But when you couple what's going on with Mercury and Mercury being here in Libra, what you see is people are going to be articulate. People are going to be polished in their speaking. They're going to want the right emphasis and the right inflection to whatever they're trying to convey. And that is helpful in conversation. But people can also become way more enamored with how what they're saying sounds to people than what they're really trying to get across as far as their point. This is what happens when it's Libra energy. And hey, there's going to be some flattery right here. There's going to be some people that are being more diplomatic than their actions are going to be able to support. And so people are appearing a certain way, but they're not going to be able to be that same person when it boils down and gets to the meat and potatoes of it all. But I guess we'll be all right? Now, when you see the sun conjunct to the black moon Lilith and Mercury CaZiMi conjunct to the black moon Lilith, that's where you see this play out as people sugarcoating shit. Explosive God made another one. What's funny is my son, it was his birthday or his solar return the day before yesterday. So this is still on his placements. And he's just so nice and polite. It makes me think he's so nice and polite, but he's not really. You get what I mean? He's very polite. He's so sweet, but he's not really nice or good. And this is my son. Just because he's sweet to you does not mean that he's just this great guy. Because there's still more to it. He just knows how to catch more flies with honey than with vinegar or salt. And we've all heard that old adage that says that you can catch more flies with honey than you ever could with salt or vinegar. And so with my son, he's actually showed me that. And me being a Libra rising, I see that. He obviously got it from me. But he's just so sweet. He's so polished in his speech, and he's so articulate. But that little sucker is devious. Believe me, he is devious. so with the sun conjunct to the black moon, you can't get caught up in the appearance of things. What you have to do is use the objective perspective that this is supplying you with and separate the appearance from the situation and see what's really going on. Make a correct judgment, because you can never forget, this is the scale of judgment. So it is about using correct judgment when you're in Libra season. And a lot of people get caught up in everything else and they forget that Libra is represented by the scales for a reason. So this right here is where you employ your best judgment. And you have all of the energy necessary for you to do so. But it's also really easy to get caught up in the appearance of things, or get caught up about being reactionary, or about worried about the reaction that you're going to get from what you're saying. Conflict avoidance just makes things a lot more complicated when it boils down to it. And that's also what happens with the sun conjunct to the south node, is you can be so worried about other people that you become dishonest. That people pleasing shit can easily make somebody dishonest or ungenuine. That's the truth. Judo Lamb says Mars in Libra, justice oriented in a way. Can be, definitely. But with this CaZiMi, I want to implore you to use your best judgment. Allow this time for you to use your best judgment. Especially with the moon in Virgo also. Analyze the situation. See what you can do. Just fine. Now, smile right fucking now. Now, let's talk about the moon. See, as we speak, the moon is at 16 degrees of Virgo. And so when the moon is in Virgo, people become more analytical and critical and technical. But people can also kind of get a certain anxiousness or a nervousness that kicks in that can fuck with their gut. That's why you see all the jokes about people using the bathroom more when the moon is in Virgo and how it messes up their stomach. But that really comes from the mind-gut connection. That is a real thing. So people are having some mental anxiety or too much thinking that actually ends up fucking with them from a digestive standpoint. And people are not going to be overly emotional right now. You have Mercury, CaZiMi with the sun in Libra, then you have the moon in Virgo. So people are not going to be overly emotional, even though there are some feelings, especially when you consider the fact that Mars is trying to Saturn. And really, the moon is the moon is sextile to Mars and opposite to Saturn right now. And so you're supposed to use that to think rationally. You have these feelings, but what's useful? And also, what can you do to healthily work through this? So you take this sense of detachment that can come with this air energy, and also with the moon being in Virgo, and you can fix things, take care of things, nurture. All right. Now, speaking of which, I just realized I put something wrong on my post. Just fine. But anyway, the moon being sextile to Mars. Well, this is Virgo and Cancer, right? And so that could definitely fuck with your digestive system, first of all. But more than anything else, this is where you have to find a healthy expression for all of those feelings that you have. And so this is really about thinking rationally despite having these feelings and being so sensitive. If you're able to do that, then you could actually channel this creatively in all types of ways. But understand a sextile involves synthesis. It's not natural like a trine. So with this right here, you have to understand that emotion rules reason, or it affects reason. When you're too emotional, you're not thinking reasonably. And so for you to think more rationally and to be more reasonable, you have to find some type of healthy outlet for those emotions. The best thing you can do for that is creatively or actively, if you want to do exercise or something. Do something to get that sensitivity to be useful for you. You hear me? Let that sensitivity be useful for you. Rather than this shit right here fucking with you so much that now your stomach's hurt. You're so sensitive to everything. Now your stomach hurts. Now you're frustrated. And only you can do something about that. That's the truth of the matter. Only you can do something about it. And then when you think about the moon being opposite to Saturn, you have to find some type of way to get that anxiety to chill the fuck out. Healthily. So understanding that you have those feelings, that it's okay for you to have negative thoughts also, but it's not okay for you to let them control you. And you have to be able to discern what's real and what isn't. And so separating yourself from that anxiety is the best thing you can do. This is the moon in Virgo, opposite to Saturn in Pisces. Saturn in Pisces in certain instances does represent fear and anxiety. And so on the other end of this, you also have to be like, oh, you know what, this is not useful. You know what? I can't let that control me. Sometimes you can't help how you feel, but you are in control of how you react to said emotions. And so being able to channel this CaZiMi and to think objectively helps you find a healthy outlet for those emotions that you have. And so all of this can be helpful for you. Hit the like button if you haven't hit the like button yet before I get upset. Yeah. Please. Now let's talk about Mercury. Because Mercury is also at 8 degrees of Libra. So we have this eclipse approaching. And the eclipse is approaching on Wednesday. That'll occur at 10 degrees of Libra. You did. And so first you have this CaZiMi, and then you have this solar eclipse. And it's all conjunct to the black moon Lilith in the south node. The eclipse will be exactly conjunct to the black moon Lilith. So that's going to be interesting for some people's relationships. I would say this might be the beginning of the end for some people, but that's all right. It could also be something that it could be the beginning of some bullshit. I wish this wasn't conjunct to the black moon Lilith, because this could be something that could be really healthy as far as us being able to start employing our better judgment and for us to start making our relationships with other people move in a healthy way. Now, when I say our relationships with other people, I'm not necessarily talking about your marriage all the time, even though that does definitely apply. I'm talking about all of our intimate one-on-one interactions with people. You have an intimate relationship with each one of your children if you have children. You have an intimate relationship with the friends that you deal with on a regular basis. You have an intimate relationship sometimes with some of your coworkers or your business partners. You have an intimate relationship in your marriage or within your personal relationship. You have an intimate relationship with each one of your parents. And so with this, I'm speaking about the nature of those relationships. But the Black Moon Lilith is here. And so this does take a certain amount of honesty in putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, which is not the most comfortable experience all the time. And so if you're going to be able to put yourself in the other person's shoes that you're dealing with, that can be really helpful in y'all growing towards a more healthy understanding of each other in y'all's interaction. And it can help your business flourish. This is still Venus influence because Venus rules Libra. So there can definitely be some money that comes from this if you're talking about business. But you having a better understanding of things means putting yourself in another person's shoes and not just giving the appearance that you care. And so that's what's the problem with a lot of us is we are too busy putting up the appearance of actual caring instead of putting the work in and understanding how we can be better partners on our own part. And sometimes that takes an objective perspective. Sometimes that takes you to take a step back and put yourself in somebody else's shoes. And we'll talk more about that in the eclipse. I had to give y'all a preview. We'll be here on Wednesday at some point. And so we'll speak on that again. But I wanted to put that on your brain since we're already CaZiMi here. And that's what CaZiMi wants to do, is put something on your brain. And so what better time than now while the sun and Mercury are conjunct to each other exactly for me to put something on your brain that makes you be able to help yourself, and through helping yourself, help your relationships flourish from this point forward. Now, when you see Mercury in Libra, like I said earlier, people are going to be wanting to make sure that they are giving the right emphasis, the right inflection when it comes to articulation. And people are going to be very aware of people's reactions to the things they're saying. Now, when that happens, that can also breed a certain dishonesty. That's just the truth. When you're worried about somebody's reaction to what you're going to say, that means you're going to either censor yourself at some point, or you're going to change what you wanted to say in order for them to have a better reaction to it. Or if you're trying to evoke a reaction that is adverse, that is something that's also a possibility, seeing that Mercury is conjunct to the Black Moon. See, some people say some slick shit, throw some shit out there, and they're waiting for you to bite on it because they do have an issue with you, but they have a hard time initiating a confrontation. And so what they want you to do is they want to project something onto you and then react to their projection. And so this is a tactic that a lot of people with Libra placements use. Take it from me, I'm a Libra rising. I have Aries on my 7th house. So what am I going to do? I'm going to make you mad so you confront me. Which is the stupidest shit in the world, but that's just something that I know I do. I'm going to piss you off so you can confront me. And then once you confront me, I can come out with everything that I have and basically instigate the conflict to something that it should have just been a simple interaction at some point, an honest interaction instead of it being this big ordeal. And so that's kind of what happens. Is it's not always that Libras are afraid of conflict. It's just for them, they're not really the type of person who favors a direct confrontation. And so both of those kind of make situations interesting because it becomes projective and reactionary. And then also it can make a person dishonest. When you're trying to avoid a confrontation, you move a certain type of way and you say things a certain type of way. And that right there might not always be genuine or honest. And so that ends up being an issue in several different sectors of life. And so right here is where you get an objective perspective and you allow yourself to work on your interpersonal dynamics. Now, here's the thing. Mercury is also opposite to the North Node. When we're talking about the sun and Mercury being conjunct to the south node, that means they're opposite to the north node. But I wanted to speak on Mercury being opposite to the north node. See, people get caught up in people pleasing, or like I said, people get caught up in sugarcoating shit. People get caught up in being so worried about the reaction that they're going to get from the things they're saying that can make a person dishonest. And then when you see that with this being opposite to the north node, it doesn't really serve your purpose. Yeah, it might smooth things over. It might sound good, but it's not helpful in your growth process. So people have to learn how to be straight up. Maybe you need to assert yourself as diplomatically as possible, but you do need to assert yourself. You need to be real about what your intentions are right off the rip up front and assert yourself, but do it as diplomatically as possible using the energy of the south node, because you can never get away from the south node. Y'all need to hit the like button right now. Y'all need to hit that super sticker, that super thanks, that super chat. Let me know you fuck with me the long way like I fuck with you. It is. Just because it's priceless don't mean it's free. Now, let's talk about Venus. Because Venus is in Scorpio. And it's such a fucking cruel joke that Venus is in Scorpio during Libra season. Because what this kind of means is people become obsessive, compulsive, messy, toxic, fucking toxic. And when Venus in Scorpio, people see the beauty in toxicity. You might even see people joking about toxic shit. I've been seeing it a lot here lately. People be making some slick jokes, and whether it's about the Diddy stuff or some other or stuff in their personal relationship. I saw my little cousin posting like, this nigga want to beat me up, and she thought it's cute. She thinks that's love, like that this man is putting his hands on her because he's jealous of what she's doing or he's insecure. And I had to tell her, like, that shit's fucked up. And so, like, somebody needs to put the fear of God in that motherfucker. And if I need to, let me do that. But she was glorifying it, because when Venus is in Scorpio, people get caught up on those toxic bonds. They get caught up in all of that mistrust and all of that chaos. And people find beauty in the bowels of life and in the nastiness of things. And so they forget the simple pleasures. They forget about what about just being in a relationship with somebody who respects you and somebody who would never hurt you, somebody who has your best interest at heart. That should be a given in a relationship. But they get caught up in these toxic bonds in the way that our society glorifies these things. Yeah. This is Venus in Scorpio. And it's like, for my lady, she has Venus conjunct her Pluto today. Venus was conjunct to my Pluto the other day. Sometimes, I know because she also has Pluto in her 7th house. She's been in some type of relationships where she gets caught up in all of the wrong shit. I remember one time, this is back in the day, I had been being unfaithful, and so she waited, right? She waited, and she got faded one night. She woke me up. She said, "I need to talk to you about something." I could tell she had been drinking, and I said, "What?" And she said, "Go to the store with me." And I said, "Man, I'm not going to the store. What do you need to talk to me about?" She said, "Go to the store with me." I said, "I'm not going if you're going to keep drinking." And so we went to the store. She bought more alcohol. We came back home, and she said, "I need you to know I've been cheating on you. I need you to know I've been cheating on you." And I said, "What?" And she just sat back, and I see her gauging my reaction. She said, "I need you to know I've been cheating on you." And I said, "So are you telling me that to come clean and be honest? Or are you telling me that to get a reaction out of me?" And she just sat there and looked at me for a minute. She said, "You're not even mad." She said, "You're not even mad." And I said, once again, did you tell me that to make me mad, or are you coming clean because you love me? And I said, you know what? It don't even matter. I'm about to leave. And so I got up and I left. And I don't think, I'm a Venus and Leo. She's a Venus and Scorpio. I don't think she ever really understood why I left, because it wasn't because she was unfaithful, even though she did fuck the kid's barber. It was because she played that game. It was because she played that game. And that's that Venus and Scorpio shit right there. A lot of people, when they have that Venus and Scorpio, they get caught up in that mistrust, because the thing is, as soon as they start to care for you, that's when they stop trusting you. Because their feelings are so deep and so fucking volcanic that it's hard for them to trust their own emotions, because those emotions become so powerful inside of them. And so they lose all rational understanding as soon as you make them feel some type of way. And this is what happens when Venus is in Scorpio in transit for some people. Those insecurities kick in. Those insecurities end up really causing some toxic behavior in people. And you start to see these games start to get played. You start to see this obsessive and compulsive nature when it comes to other people kick in. People become obsessed with people. Shit gets toxic. See, when Venus is in Scorpio, people can love and hate the same person at the same motherfucking time. At the same motherfucking time. Shit crazy. This is where it operates at extremes. There's going to be some deep, passionate, sexy love going on. But there's also going to be some toxic ass bullshit. Sorry. But there's definitely going to be some toxic bullshit. And there's going to be some hating. There's going to be some hating. This is where people are paying attention to what you got going on. This is where people are hating on your situation. This is where there might be some fuck shit going on behind the scenes. Where people are jealous. And when people become jealous and people become envious of your situation and they want to take your place, even though they smiling in your face, they turn into a backstabber. Oh yeah, shit gets messy. Shit gets toxic. And then Jupiter is sitting there at 21 degrees of Gemini, just stationed, just sitting there. And once that Gemini energy gets stuck, that's when that shit gets mischievous and chaotic and sloppy and messy. And we have the makings of a toxic mess. You hear me? But it's going to be interesting. Lamb, I know. That's where that came from. You got to catch on. I'll be on some shit. Once I get into that, I'm vibing like that. I'll be saying some shit. Then I do the blunt. Oh, there it is. Now, let's talk about Mars. Because Mars is now at 14 degrees of Cancer. So here's the thing. People are fucking sensitive. People are taking everything personally. Everything personally. And so with this, that makes things more complicated. It's not just business as usual because everybody's taking things personally. People are sensitive, so those emotions have to be accounted for. When those emotions have to be accounted for, it makes the situation just that much more complicated. It makes things just that much more complex. And the thing is, that stuff that you're feeling, even though you're feeling it, it doesn't come to the surface directly. This isn't Aries. It's kind of passive aggressive until it ends up being aggressive aggressive. You can get bogged down by emotions. You can get in your feelings because people have you fucked up. Yeah. Like, bro, they got me fucked up. Or the only thing you can do with this is get creative. Find some type of outlet for those emotions, and then you might be able to work with this a little bit. But also understand that Mars is in Cancer. People are going to be taking things personally. You yourself might be taking things more personally than you have to or should. Do you hear me? This is what happens. Take it from a Mars in Capricorn. For me, I'm able to calm myself down most of the time because I be like, this isn't worth it. This shit ain't personal, it's business, so I'm not wasting my energy on that. I have to have stamina to do other shit that's actually productive, so I'm not gonna waste a whole bunch of time tripping with you. It takes a lot to piss me off, and once I do get pissed off, I'm pissed off. Now, I get annoyed very easily, but for me to really get mad, everybody will tell you I have a very long fuse. I don't get mad very fast. And that's because I have Mars in Capricorn, because a lot of times there's no point in me tripping on that shit. I'm not taking it personally. Even if you're trying to insult me personally, even if the fact of the matter is, how is that going to affect my productivity? It's not, unless I allow it to. So why the fuck would I allow it to? So with me right there, it's usually business. This business. Now I do take my business personally, but it's usually business. It's not personal. If I'm being a certain type of way towards you, that's because that's how I am. People are like, oh, you're fucking being an asshole to me. I'm not being an asshole to you, motherfucker. I'm an asshole. I am a pompous asshole. I'm a cocky motherfucker. That's the truth. Don't take it personally. That doesn't mean that my behavior is permissible or okay, but I'm just letting you know you're taking it personal. It's not personal. I don't have a personal problem with you. This is just how I am. If I correct you, I have people do this all the time because I'll be correcting them. They'll say some shit and they'll think I'm being mean to them, or they'll share some shit that's misinformation and I'll be tripping with them, and they'll think I'm being an asshole to them. Why are you just you on here hating? And I'm not hating. That's just misinformation. The shit you shared is just not correct, and it's not something that needs to be transported. And they're taking it personal. No, this is how I am. It's not because I don't like you. As a matter of fact, I love you, or I wouldn't even care. I'm doing this because this is how I am. But anyway, with Mars in Cancer, there's inconsistencies. Just like the moon changes 28 phases, people's moods and motives change in those 28 phases. When you see Mars in Cancer, it's like, I'm doing this for this, and then I'm doing this for this, and I feel this way about this, so I'm reacting to this. And when you look at everything as something that you have to respond or react to, that just makes shit more complicated. It makes things more conflicted and complex. And so you just have to find some type of way to channel this differently. And then with Mars trying to Saturn, and this being Mars in Cancer trying to Saturn in Pisces, this is where you're sensitive to also what's going on in the world and with other people. And this is where it's real easy for you to get bogged down by all of those feelings that you have, by that anxiety that you have, by those fears that you have, by your own insecurity. And sometimes it has nothing to do with you. It's just the feeling that's in the air, the vibe that you're putting yourself in the mix with. And so what you have to do is find some type of way to slow down and express this as healthily as possible. The best thing you can do is get creative with it. Let how you feel be your inspiration towards creating something beautiful. Or let that be what it takes for you to help somebody. Because you helping somebody might actually be the remedy that you need. See, a lot of the times, what saved me from relapsing into my old lifestyle is the fact that I have to be here to help y'all and to teach y'all and to be there for all of my clients. You understand what I'm saying? It's like I almost slipped up and got back on drugs last year when my sister died. But the fact that I had y'all that looked up to me, the people that do look up to me, the people that do come to me for me to give them this insight, and the people that respect me as a man and a father and a leader in certain instances, it really made me reconsider and say, no, I can't do that. And the fact that I have to come live in front of y'all, I was like, man, I can't be high on no fucking dope. They'll know something's off with me. And so it was all this thing. It was just like, man, there's me knowing that I had job, me knowing that I have this sense of responsibility. It kept me off from going off the ledge. It kept me from falling back into that lifestyle. You know, when I think about the legal situation that I'm still dealing with, I think, man, I think about my family, of course, but I also think like, man, what about all my people? Like the people that love me and support me. If the worst ever comes to the worst, what about that? And so I just have to move more consciously because of that. And so with Mars trying to Saturn, understand there's going to be lots of feelings. There might be some worries. There might be some sensitivities that you can't help, but you can't help how you react to it. And so take the time to react to things appropriately. And if you can find some type of way to channel this creatively, or to take all this emotion that you have and to make something beautiful come of it, to make something that can be constructive come from it, that's the perfect opportunity for you. And so, yeah. Really, you said was transit Pluto conjunct to my Mars at that time? No, the Saturn was conjunct to my moon. Not yet. Well, kind of. It was close to coming to a conjunction with my moon, and Mars was conjunct my sun, and Pluto was opposite my Mercury during that time. But yes, I have a Capricorn Mars, Leo. But I just, I had to really put myself in the position to where, hey, this is how we do it. And so when you see Mars trying to Saturn, there are some tendencies here to where, understand, it's so natural for your emotions to bog you down. But if you take the time and process them healthily, you can actually put yourself in a better position than you were in the first place. Because not only are those feelings taken care of, but you're also able to channel this energy creatively in some way, form, or fashion, or productively in some way. Some people get in their feelings, they go clean their whole motherfucking house. Some people get in their feelings, they write a whole fucking book. They write a whole fucking album. Hate it or love it. Look at fucking Taylor Swift. She fucking had a relationship before, and she's gonna start writing a fucking album on whoever that motherfucker was. And so with this right here, there are some heavy emotions that people might experience right here. But using this Libra energy that's here and being able to separate yourself from this and to look at things objectively despite your emotions will be very helpful for you. Hold on, let me see what this right here is. One of y'all here just sent me an email. What's up, Journalist 26? Anyway, what's up, Sharon Crawford? Tiger Lily, Tina Clara Marie, Journalist 26. Smile right now. I don't know about the thrill. I'm not here for the thrill. I'm here to keep it trill. Now, let's look at Jupiter. Jupiter is stationed, meaning it's not going to move very much until it stations retrograde here on October 9th. And so we're about 10 days from Jupiter station in retrograde. And so with it just sitting in one place, this is where this energy does get kind of messy and things do get sloppy. And this is where you do have to pay attention to what you're saying, and also kind of be paying attention to the way people are saying the things that they're saying. Emphasis and inflection does matter. And you also have to understand there's going to be a lot of fucking playing about shit that people shouldn't be fucking playing about. This has been happening since Jupiter been in Gemini. It's not all the time, but it's something that is very prevalent. Like, man, why the fuck are you even playing about that? You know, even myself, it took me taking a step back and looking at the situation with Diddy and saying, hey, you know what? I'm not going to play about that, because what he did was atrocious. You know, I played about it until that shit came out with Cassie, and y'all saw I stopped playing about that shit, because I do not fucking condone that shit in any way, form, or fashion, bro. There's nothing funny about you exploiting people. It's nothing funny about sexual assault. There's nothing funny about domestic abuse. There's nothing funny about that shit. There's nothing funny about using power as control and then sex as control. There's nothing cool about that shit. You using the money that you have to make people do things sexually with each other and with you. You're then taking videotapes of these and using them in ways to exploit people. This is why it's believed to have a criminal enterprise. You beating the fuck out of people, especially women. Because the fact of the matter is, if you're on tape doing that to Cassie, what about all the people that you don't have on tape? Kim Porter can't speak for herself because you probably had something happen to her. All of these situations now, it really puts things into perspective for you. It really puts things into perspective. And so I've had to take a step back and look at things from a more spiritual perspective in order for me to realize that's not something I should be playing about. That shit's not cool. And then, what's up, the nutrition musician? And then when I'm looking at this situation, you know, I really started to have empathy for the people involved. Now, what this has to do with Jupiter and Gemini is people are playing about it constantly. And people just be talking. Just fucking talking. And this energy does become very mischievous because, as I've explained before, you want to look at Gemini as a very young energy. It can even be childish in certain ways. And so, and this is like a little badass kid. I know we don't like to call kids bad, but there is some kids that's just a little bad than a motherfucker. I got 3 sons. That middle one is bad than a motherfucker. He's home right here today for lying, acting like he was sick. I was asleep this morning, and I woke up, and my wife was already gone to work, and she said, "Hey, Jaheim's sick. He's staying home." I said, "What's wrong with him?" She didn't answer me, so I went there and asked him, "What's wrong with you?" He said, "My stomach." I went back 5 seconds later, or about 15 minutes later. I come back in his room, and he has a big ass candy apple. He's sitting there eating a big ass candy apple. Supposed to be sick with a tummy ache, and then he has a fucking bag of 750 sour gummy worms he got for his birthday on Saturday. He's eating those. After that, he ate cereal. I'm like, this little motherfucker just didn't want to go to school. And then he basically admitted, just smiled. I said, it's okay, you know, and I had to take a step back because me being how I am, I was mad about that shit. But I just said, hey, you know what? Everybody needs a mental health day. Yeah, he's a lion ass Libra. Everybody needs a mental health day. I said, you can stay home today, but you got to get back to school. Like, stop playing games. Like, stop. He's a Gemini moon too. Don't get it twisted. He's not just a Libra. He's a Gemini moon. Both of my oldest boys are Gemini moons. One's a Leo sun, Gemini moon. The other one's a Libra sun, Gemini moon. Now my Leo son, he's very well behaved. He's very well behaved. He doesn't cause any issues. He's just a pretty generally well-adjusted person all the way around. But my middle son, he will have the police over here. He will lie. Oh my God. You can't, I mean, that's all he does. He's like, that's all he does is lie, man. He's the sweetest kid, but all he does is lie, man. But anyway, Gemini is like a little badass kid. And look, kids usually do well if you're keeping an eye on them when they're young, right? You got to keep an eye on them. But there's some kids that if you turn your head away for a second, or if you think you got them pegged, you got another thing coming because they got another trick up their fucking sleeve. And this is Gemini energy. And so what you're doing is you're taking this energy with its station, and this being Jupiter, which Jupiter represents expansion, and you're trying to make it sit still because that's what it's doing. Instead of moving, which Jupiter already moves slower than Gemini would like, so there's detriment effect that's with Jupiter and Gemini. Because Gemini wants to go on from thing to thing to thing and thing and thing, and Jupiter wants to keep expanding. And how you can expand on something when you can't stay on anything? And so it does create a certain imbalance with this energy. And so with this right here, you got Jupiter expanding the nature of Gemini, which is already fucking chaotic than a motherfucker. And in this way, this energy becomes mischievous, it becomes sloppy, it becomes messy, because this is what happens when you try to make this energy sit still for an extended period of time. And so when one of y'all said something about, I think it was Ito Lamb, you said that earlier people have been really active lately. Well, that's what that is. Jupiter and Gemini has just got people very angsty. And so people want, they want to move on to the next things. People might even be rushing things. Hold up. Somebody just forwarded something to me. I gotta look what this is. Anyway, that's my electric bill coming. Sorry. But yeah, basically, this is just where people are gonna be really active. People are gonna be mischievous. People are gonna be messy. People are gonna be sloppy. This shit gonna be crazy. This shit can be crazy. It can just be, and then you can also see, like, there's this energy, like, we're waiting for this election here in the United States. No matter what, people want to wait and see what's going to happen with this election. And we want to see the messiness of it, because no matter who wins, there's going to be some type of messiness. If Trump wins, Kamala Harris might be a little bit more graceful, but if any event Kamala Harris wins, these motherfuckers, it's this shit fishing to get messy than the motherfucker here in the United States. And so it's already messy. There's things being said, the games being played. That shit's already a whole fucking shitstorm. A whole bunch of fucking bloviating. But we're just waiting for something and we're ready to move on to the next thing, to the next phase of whatever it's going to be. And so people are antsy. And it's this time before this starts moving again. So people are saying things and they're just talking and they're just, what I mean? You'll hear somebody say something like, in just a few weeks, we'll find out whether we get affordable groceries or World War III. And that's just a way to, like, manipulate somebody into thinking the way that you think. Because both of those are things that might already be inevitable, or both of those are things that are simply unrealistic. Now, in this case, there's probably both of those things are going to be inevitable. No matter who's president, because of the things that they're trying to implement, there will be a way for them to get the economy a little bit more stable over the next 8 years. But also, if nothing else is promised, it's almost promised that World War III will come about. And I know that sounds like fear mongering, but that's also true. Now, this is not relevant to what I'm saying. I'm just saying there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of people just talking. There's a lot of people just saying stuff, and it doesn't even have to involve politics. It's about life, period. It's a lot of people playing. It's a lot of people just bumping their fucking gums. And it might not be right, but it is definitely interesting. It's not boring. It's not boring. You feel me? Rach says we're in spiritual warfare. It's possible. But it's going to be literal warfare too. Not in the way that it used to be. There's not going to be soldiers on the ground. There might be if they invade somewhere, but there's not going to be a lot of soldiers on the ground shooting guns at each other. This is more where they use bombs and missiles and tactical weapons and biological warfare, maybe nuclear weapons. You know, we're all in a spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare is something that's going on inside of you. It's not a spiritual war that people are talking about theoretically. The spiritual warfare is something that you wage every day between your higher and lower selves. So I want you to keep that on it right there. But what you also want to see is the fact that there's going to be actual warfare. The transits that we have coming up almost ensured. I've talked about this over and over again. We'll talk about it more in just a few minutes, but we're shifting from in the outer planets, femininity into masculinity. And all of the transits that we have upcoming, the last time that we experienced these transits was during global conflicts and wars, especially the ones that involved the United States. And so, whether it be from the advent of the United States as a whole with Pluto through Aquarius, whether it be what's going on with Uranus and Gemini, which speaks of world wars and the Civil War and the American Revolutionary War, whether it be Neptune and Aries, which speaks of where we're at now as far as in America, and it's also being the Civil War was the last time Neptune was in Aries. And so we have all of those transits coming up in 2025 and 2026. And so ultimately, it can just be looked at that this is right here going to be, at the very least, a time of drastic change in America and in the world. Or what's more probable is some type of conflict or war that ends up meaning that the United States doesn't exist in the same way that it did before. And that changes the whole landscape of the world. As much as Americans are egotistical, that's the truth. And so things are happening. Now, let's talk about Saturn. Saturn is at 14 degrees of Pisces. Saturn is retrograde until November 15th. And so when we see Saturn sitting here in Pisces, first of all, understand this is where people develop this deep-seated fear of isolation. And so they're prompted to get more involved with other people, both from that fear and its origin, which is a complete lack of faith in life all the way around. You hear me? And with this right here, there can be some fear and some anxiety that have set in for a lot of us. And you have to be careful because right here, this is manifestive. This is where it gets manifestive. And so you have to be careful what you're manifesting. You worried about something so much you can make it happen. So you better make sure you know what you want. Are you trying to manifest healthier things and you're trying to get out of a negative mindset, or are you trying to manifest worse problems in your life because you're looking at it from a fucked up perspective? See, with this retrograde, this is where you gain perspective. This is where you understand what's going on. The beautiful thing about Pisces is when you look at Pisces in comparison to Sagittarius, Sagittarius is about knowing. Gemini is about learning. Sagittarius is about knowing. Pisces is about understanding. Do you feel me? And so this is where you get a better understanding of who you are from the inside out, and what's going on with you in your life, and why you have these feelings that you have, and how you can best process them moving forward. You have to take this opportunity to get perspective of what needs to be addressed in your life, because it's something you've already felt. So this is why you get perspective, like, oh shit, I'm going through this again. Maybe this is coming from this, or maybe this is this, because you're going to feel it again when this station's direct and goes back over these degrees. And so for a lot of people, it's about understanding what you can control and what you can't. It's about understanding you're not a victim. No, this is not your karma coming to get you, because karma doesn't come to get you. Karma happens. And so, yes, this is karma in the fact that this is what was going to happen. This is what was going to happen. So what are you going to do about it? You've gotten this far, and you've let things get to where they're so vast that it feels like you have no control over it, or you have no understanding of it. And so first you have to drop the illusion of control. All right? That's how you let things flow. You process things by dropping the illusion of control. What you can't control is your reaction. You can't control the external circumstances. Life is hard. That's what life does. People get sick. People get sick. People die. People die. And if you're dealing with love, guess what? There's a possibility of heartbreak. Families are going to be reliable and unreliable sometimes. And the fact of the matter is, some of that stuff is just a part of life. So what are you going to do about it? Because the shit that you're going through, hey, there's other people going through it too. And so you have compassion for them, now have compassion for you. No matter what happens to you today, there's 8 billion people on earth. Yes, you're having a unique experience of it because of your perspective, but you're not the only one that's experiencing whatever you're experiencing today. That's guaranteed. There could be 50 million people who got their heart broke today. There could be 10 million people who got diagnosed with cancer today. There can be 500 million people that lost their job today. There can be a billion people who experience some type of abuse or neglect today. This is the truth. So it's not about what you're going through, even though what you're going through is probably harrowing. It's about how you process it. How do you process things? Because we all got our own shit. A lot of the times, the only problems that we have with people is the fact that we perceive there to be a problem with that person. I've seen this play out in real life. Like I said, I have a client, and I've told this story already here before. She's always thought that her sister was out to get her. And her sister is just living her life. And they have a lot of animosity between them. But the animosity between them is this mistrust that she has of her sister. There's an issue between them. I remember there was this dude. Sorry, I got my throat's kind of congested. I remember when there was this dude that I used to have issues with in high school, right? This is a true story. His name was Doe. We were from different hoods, and we was into gangs and shit like that. But ultimately, neither one of us never did anything wrong to the other person. One day we were walking in school. I thought he had an attitude, so I started acting some type of way towards him. And from that day forward, he didn't like me. I didn't like him. And he might have just been having a bad day. And I'll tell y'all what's crazy here in just a few minutes. But he he was my cousin's friend more than he was my friend, but we were cool with each other. And then one day we were at school, and something happened, and I walked up on him, and he just was acting funny towards me. He just was acting funny towards me. And maybe it's because I thought he was acting funny towards me. I don't fucking know. But he just, to me, he had like an attitude. And so from that forward, I was like, that motherfucker got an attitude. Fuck him. And then from that point forth, like, we were rivals. Like, there were so many times where we got into it. It got to the point where we had physical altercation one time. We didn't get to really fight because we were in his hood. And I walked up with I really feel like I was set up. We went to the hood. I'll tell y'all what happened real quick. We went to the it was the projects. We went to the projects, which were in his hood. We were only 16, but this is from high school. But like I said, we were involved in gangs. And so we went to in this dope feed rental, which I don't know. Matter of fact, it wasn't even a dope feed rental. It was a stolen car. We had stolen an SUV, and we went to his projects because we know some people there. Like, we didn't have any big problems with anybody, so we went in there, and we were speaking to everybody and shaking hands and saying what's up. And then he just kind of popped out of the stoop, out of the dark, and he's real dark, but he popped out of the stoop, and he was like, "What's up?" I was like, "What's up?" He asked me to hit my black and mild. I let him hit my black and mild. I got in the car and said, "You can keep that shit, nigga." And I got in the car and left. And so when we get back to where we were getting dropped off at, my best friend was like, "Man, let's go back up to the north." He's like, "Let's take the bike." He had a moped. He was like, "Let's take the bike and go back up to the north, which is the projects." And I was like, "Man, I don't want to go over there because I just got an uneasy feeling about me seeing dope, right?" And I was like, "No, I don't want to go back up there. Fuck that shit." And he was like, "What, man? Just come on, bro." And I was like, "All right, fuck it, let's go." And so when we get back, we pull up on it again. He asked me, we pull up, we get off, I get off the moped, and as soon as I get off the moped, he walks off, and dope comes out of the stoop again, walks up on me. And he was like, "Hey, you got a black?" And as I'm digging in my pockets, he just socked me. Boom! Just punched me. And then when he punched me, I backed up off the curb and took my glasses off, and about 4 or 5 of his friends or his dudes from their little hood, they kind of circled me. And so he go to circle me, and he's like, "I'm giving you a chance right now to leave the projects, or leave the north right now, or it's gonna be worse." And I was like, "What?" And I'm trying to fight him, and he's like, "You got 30 seconds to leave, or this shit's about to get bad." And so I looked at him, I looked at all of them, and I was like, "Okay, let me leave." And so I left. I was like, but bet I just told him when I was leaving, like, "Me and you gonna have to get that, bro." And anyway, to make a long story short, I went back home and I tried to go back up there. They stopped me because I was trying to go up there and trip with guns or whatever. But I remember another time. I pulled up, and we just pulled up in the hood, and somebody came up and was like, "You still got a problem with dope?" I was like, "No, not really." He was like, "All right," so we leave again. We pull up to another place that later on that night, it's the same dude. He come up again. It's like, "Hey, you trying to see dope?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to see him." I'm trying to see him. So I go wait outside. He never comes outside. I guess they stopped him from coming out there. And so fast forward about 4 years, and I'll show you how this is relevant. Fast forward about 4 years, and I wake up. I'm living in the projects now. I wake up and I look downstairs, and I see Doe sitting there talking to. He's sitting there talking to my best friend on the stoop, and that's my best friend, like my ace boom coon to this day, my brother basically. And so I knew it ain't no way I'm finna take a loss. Ain't no way that my brother's gonna let anything. My brother's an Aries. We are in the same place where he's an Aries or whatever. And so I'm like, So no matter what happens, I'm good. So I'm like, man, you know what? Today's gonna be that day. We finna get this out. We're grown ass men now. It's been since we were in high school. Me and this motherfucker had problems, and I was just in one of them state of minds, like it's finna get gangster. And so I tied my shoes up. I run down. I don't run, but I go downstairs real quick. I walk right up on the door. I'm like, hey, what's up, cuz? You got a problem? You know what I'm saying? Remember when? And he was like, he took a step back and he was like, and he's a year or two older than me, but he was like, no, I don't have a problem, bro. And I was like, what? He was like, I don't. He's like, I don't even know what the problem was in the first place, nigga. And he was like, I just thought one day, he said, I just remember one day I thought you had an attitude or you was tripping with me. And so after that, it was up. It was up. And the problem is I just thought he had a problem with me. That's all. One day, like I just thought he had an attitude and he had a problem with me. And so it boils down to it's like neither one of us up until after what happened before that, when it really boiled down to it, we never had a problem with each other. The problem was he thought I had a problem with him, and I thought he had a problem with me. And so fast forward about 5 years, about 2 or 3 years, Facebook comes out, right? And he used to be one of my Facebook friends. And so, back then it shows you whose birthday it is. And it comes to turn out we got the same fucking birthday. And so all of a sudden that all clicked and made sense that we were both cancers. We were both and so we both just was just tripping with each other. We were in a mood one day and we never had a problem. Now this actually right here gives you the proper time where it took some time, but there was perspective that was gained from that. And so when you look at Saturn and Pisces, I just want you to understand that sometimes the problem is the problem itself. Sometimes the problem is the fear itself. It's not even the problem when you're dealing with somebody else, but sometimes it's the feeling. And this is Pisces, so it does have to do with feeling. Sometimes the issue is the feeling. It's not that the issue isn't there because life is full of issues, but sometimes it's your perspective, and sometimes it's 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 just some bullshit. It's a delusion. It's some confusion. It's something you've been avoiding or escaping or ignoring, and so now it's accumulated. So it seems like life is out to get you, and there's a whole bunch of problems piling up on you. But the fact of the matter is, you just been ignoring shit. You just been avoiding shit. So when all of this stuff is coming back on you at once, it's because you have ignored it and avoided it and tried to escape it for so long that it has to no choice but to go down now. And so that shit gets heavy. It feels heavier now, but it's not because it's anything abnormally happening, because Saturn was in Pisces 30 years ago. Saturn was in Pisces 30 years before that. And so just so you know, this is not the only time that Saturn's ever been in Pisces. So it's not like this is just the universe coming down on you. It's just a part of a process. It's all cyclical. So all of this shit just means, hey man, you gotta understand, like this is not just coming back to get you. It's just happening. The shit is happening. Life is happening, and it's not just happening to you. It's happening either way. It's all a part of the process. Even when you look at shit like death, as sad as it is, like people are like, man, like they feel like death is so cruel, and death is. But the truth is, death is the fairest thing in the world. It happens to everybody. At the end of the day, we all got a fair shot, and that was a lifetime. No matter if it was 10 seconds or 120 years, you got a lifetime. You got what you signed up for. No matter what's happening for you in your life, you wanted to come experience this human shit. That's what you signed up for. You signed up for this. The pain, the pleasure, the heartbreak, the sex, the love, the fucking sickness, all of this shit. You're a foreign body living in a meat sack. I've been on some shit today. I came to teach you. Now let's go ahead and move on to Uranus. 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 Look, this is sitting now at 26 degrees of Taurus, retrograde until January 30th. Now, first of all, that means this is now back on Algol. Uranus is now back conjunct Algol. So crazy stuff is going to be happening. People are going to be losing their motherfucking mind, going against their own values, going against their own better judgment. Why? Because of money. Because of fucking money. Because of the financial situation. I play a lot, but this is playing out in the political process. I just talked to my good friend yesterday. He's a Capricorn. I'm a Cancer. We're having this discussion, and he's a big Trump supporter now, and I don't like that shit. But I respect him. But we throw jabs at each other. But I was really jugging at him about the debate, the recent debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, and I was just telling him how inept Donald Trump was and how much he lost, and he really couldn't say anything. And then he finally just said, and I told y'all this, that he said it before. He finally just said, "Hey, bro, I'm trying to fuck with whoever's putting money in my pocket." He went straight Capricorn. He said, I'm about the economy. He's like, when it boils down to it, I don't give a fuck about none of that other shit. I know I play a lot, but for me, it's about the money. And I said, say that then. You wouldn't, in my eyes, you wanted to go against your principles of what you stand for as a black man. Where him and I stood for together because we spent time in prison together. I said, you're willing to go against what you believe morally, what you feel like is right to you, because you're a felon. You can't even vote. We're arguing about politics and neither one of us can vote. But you're doing all that campaigning. And he said, man, he said, bro, I know I made this much last time he was in office. I made more than I could ever make before. He said, now I don't make half of that. He's a truck driver. He said, I'm thinking about that. He said, that's what's really on my mind, bro. He's like, what's crazy is last time I actually rode he's like, I actually drove my boat in the fuck Donald Trump parade. He said, but now I completely changed it. He's like, I can't go on like this. I have a certain lifestyle that I'm used to, and I'm not willing to sacrifice that lifestyle. And I said, not even for freedom, not even for morality. And he said, bro, they all fucking fake and lying. And he's right. And he's right. And so he just said, hey, this is why I'm making the choice I'm making. And I see that. Now, I also see where when you see Uranus conjunct Algol, and we've seen this already. Remember, this is retrograde now. We've already seen this. When Trump had that first assassination attempt, this was what was going down. When Mars was conjunct to Uranus and Algol. But with this right here, this is just a catalyst right here. And this is where people make unstable decisions in search of security. And this does not just always pertain to politics. It's in your life. Sometimes people can get greedy, and that ends up limiting what they're actually able to make because you got greedy in the first place. Uranus falls in Taurus. So a lot of the times people aren't willing to sacrifice base security. And so they're not going to be able to make everything that they can make from this because they're stuck in a certain way of doing things. And we've seen this play out in certain businesses. And because of the pandemic and because of the way business has changed as far as the nature of business over the last few years, you can see that there's a lot of old businesses that just can't flourish the way that they are now. They just can't. And so you're going to see a lot of businesses that are closing down. You can look at some of those restaurant chains. They're closing down because they cater to a specific dynamic that no longer exists. You have some businesses that if they cannot change the way that they do business, then they're going to struggle. People want to do things more remotely. People want to have things delivered to them. People want things to be more convenient. People want things to be more healthy, even. And so certain, as far as food places, it can. And then you also have to look at the dynamics of a lot of things. And so you've seen a lot of those traditional restaurant chains and some of those things that were really flourishing, they've really gotten shut down over the last few years. And then you can just look at all of us. People have to do a lot more work online, and they have to be able to work with people in different areas of the globe sometimes. For me to be able to conduct my business, I have to deal with people in England, in Belgium, in Australia, in Brazil. I have to sometimes do readings for those people, and a lot of the times they're interactive. One of my clients flies up and down the East Coast constantly, and so I have to be able to connect with her when she's available on that level. And so with that, I've had to make sure that I stay up on my business savvy, and I have to really start working on my technological understanding. And so you just see how there's a lot of things that have to be changed. And if you're stuck in a certain way of doing things, you're going to struggle. And so with this being retrograde, this is the perfect time for you to take inventory and figure out who you are, where you stand, both financially and morally, and what you need to do moving forward. Because at this point in time, at least for another year, stability is not going to be something that's possible. It's not going to be very stable, but you can find a secure place to operate from. And that starts up here in your mind. It's a mindset. It's taking an adaptable approach to life, saying, hey, you know what? There's all types of ways to make money. I just have to think outside of the box. Now, you also have to assess who you are morally, because ultimately, over the last few years, what you're willing to do to make money has changed drastically, I guarantee you. And it's not just because your morals have changed and the times have changed, it's because you've seen other people make money doing it. So you start to consider, hey, man, I might need to get involved in that sector. And you see people do it all the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. So it's a great time for you to take inventory of who you are, where you stand both financially and morally, and figure out what you're going to need to do moving forward. And that also incorporates the question, what are you willing to do to make money? And then when you see Uranus sextile to Neptune, like I say, this is where they're sextiling and synthesizing with each other. The market and money really is something that's prominent within the culture, and it influences what the culture sees as valuable. But the culture also is what determines what's valuable, because people are more connected than ever, and we live in a copycat culture. So with Neptune in Pisces, and this being Uranus in Taurus, you can see where all of the delusion and the confusion could actually be something that once people get behind a certain product, that can be largely profitable part of me. And then on the other end of that, if this proves to be something that is not going to be lucrative, then that's going to be something that goes on. And then you also see how spirituality is a fad. What's up to Italy? Domenico Forcinelli. But yeah, you also see with this right here, where spirituality is a fad, you have all types of people making money off of it. There are all types of sectors. Earlier, I just told you about music divination. I told you about Reiki. I told you about my sister, who's not only a financial advisor for those trying to do this type of thing, like monetize your online presence, but she also is an astrocartomancer, and she helps people learn how to live in lunar synchronicity. You look at me as an astrologer and a numerologist. You look at all of the people who have found their niche in this way. But you also have to stay adaptable in this, because a lot of people are losing their spiritual principle of living because they're trying to sacrifice their spiritual self for material gain. It's real easy to do in this culture. People forget spirituality is an inner journey. So now you're acting outside of your moral value system and outside of your spiritual journey because you want to make a profit. Selling some bullshit. I saw a girl I know, and she was telling somebody on a reading. She said, "I'm about to tell you about your life in ancient Egypt." And I'm sure some people did, but the way she come out, like, you know, she was full of shit. It just made me sad to be associated with it. She said, "I'm about to tell you about your life in ancient Egypt." And I just was like, man, shut the fuck up. Like, I understand, and I'm not gonna hate on your hustle, but goddamn, like, it's the blind leading the blind. You so caught up in your delusion and that you're spreading this confusion, and you're actually selling it. And people are out here selling it, creating confusion. And the thing is, perception is reality. Perception is reality. Because the only thing you can trust is how you feel. And we'll talk more about that in just a second. But with Uranus trying to Pluto, and this being Pluto in Capricorn in this right here, this is where people are frustrated with money. This is where people feel like they're struggling. I paid $5 for a dozen eggs yesterday. I spent over 20 some dollars on 4 hamburger steaks. Shit's crazy, man. I drink a lot of honey. I drink honey tea for my throat. Shit, 24 ounces of honey costs over $10, and that's the cheap shit. I only drink organic honey. Because anytime honey is touched with metal, that kills the enzymes and the antibacterial properties of honey. For those of y'all that didn't know that yet. So if it's ran through a metal strainer, there's nothing. I don't do that. I need it raw and unfiltered. Really, you said Uranus is conjunct your North Node in Taurus, but you're still broke as shit. Maybe it's just this is the time, or it's gonna take some time that you just keep reassessing your values and you separate your self-worth from your material possessions is something that's important. You know, and when you learn how to let money flow and understand that money is energy, finances are energy. And so with this right here, when you don't stress and you don't push, you can actually get an appropriate flow. When you this is Taurus, you need to be patient and calm, cool, and what's the other one? Collective. They say collected, but I'm saying collective. And so you're calm, you're cool, you're collective because you're not forcing anything. You don't need to force anything. You need to just to allow abundance to in its own way create more abundance. And so that comes from having a mindset that is about abundance. And that's something that I've had to learn. I have Saturn in the second house. So I've had to develop a philosophy of abundance. And so developing a philosophy of abundance has allowed me to see money that I could never dream of before. And it's because I wasn't limiting myself from my mind. And so for you, you got to not worry about being rich and getting rich and understand and be grateful for how much you already have, and then try to figure out how you can parlay your resources into something that's even more resourceful. Yeah, I'm on some shit today. Smile right fucking now before I get mad. Yeah, before I fucking get mad. Anyway, let's look at Neptune. Neptune is at 28 degrees of Pisces, I think. Yeah, 28 degrees of Pisces, retrograde until December 7th. And so with this right here, what you got to understand is there's not really a perspective you can trust because we're all operating off projection and expectation. The only thing that's real is how you feel. So the only thing you can trust is your perspective of a situation, is your inner compass. Because the shit you're seeing, it could be a fabrication. A lot of it is. It's a projection. Even the things that you're experiencing with other people, you have to understand you're just experiencing a projection of who that person is that was created for you in that moment. And there might be some reality to it, but you also have to understand that your perception of somebody is influenced by their projection, but it's also influenced by your own projection or expectation of them. Do you understand that? And so we create these expectations of people off projections. Sometimes our own projective illusion of who they are, which becomes a delusion of what that whole relationship is with somebody, or off what they're projecting onto you that is only a piece of the character that they're conveying. Do you follow me? Hit the like button right now. Hit the fucking super sticker, the super thanks, the super chat. I need to add this to my monthly check from YouTube. So hit that super sticker, that super thanks, or that super chat. But yeah, just with Neptune here, the only thing that's real is how you feel. What you're seeing, a lot of it is only what you are capable of seeing with these earthly eyes, or in other ways, it's only what you want to see. You can't trust that. You can't even trust video anymore. Real ain't even real no more. And with AI, reality is getting even more diluted and convoluted. And so all you can trust is how you feel from the inside out. You have a main line to the divine that resides inside of you. You have to tap into that. That's what you got to do. Let your inner compass be your guide. Now, Neptune is sextile to Pluto. And so with this right here, things can be stressful right now to the point that you start to look at things as being worse than they actually are. There's a lot of people who are disenchanted with life. There's a lot of people who are depressed about things going forward. You can even, once again, look at the political process and you can think neither one of those candidates are ideal. The situation that we're in is very complicated, and it's also a little depressing. You don't see how things can be fixed, and there's no way that either candidate can fix things in 4 years. And all Donald Trump can get is 4 years, unless he does something unconstitutionally. And even in 4 years, Donald Trump will be 73 years old. Not 73, 83 years old. Pardon me, 83 years old. I'm glad I caught that. He'll be 83 years old. Donald Trump he's already 78 years old. And so in 4 years after, if he were elected, he'd be 83 years old. There's no way that he could ever be competent as president because he just spoke of the ineptitude of Joe Biden, who is 82 years old. So this is all you got, bro. And if you have a bipartisan Congress that is defiant, then that could be a problem. But if you have a Congress that is democratically influenced and you have a Democratic president, they can they can make a lot of change. If they have a Congress that is more Republican influenced and you have a Republican president, then they can make a lot of change. But if you have it vice versa, if you have uh, a Republican dominant Congress and a Democratic president, then that's going to end up being where there's nothing that's going to get changed. That's what we've seen with Joe Biden in office. when you have a Republican president and a Democratic Congress, you can't. And that union strike, all the eastern ports, they're gonna have a union strike. There's probably after tonight they might go striking. So there might be a lot of imports and exports that get stalled because of that. And people say we might not get any food. It's possible, but if it's that the scope that they put it out to be, they'll have to do something about it. They'll have to do something about it. But yeah, either way, you look at the situation, it's just kind of depressing. The whole situation is depressing, and it's real easy to get disenchanted with the way things are. It's real easy to be discontent about where life is right now. And so at the same time, you look at Pluto being at 29 degrees of Capricorn. This is the type of ambition you need. You need this feeling sometimes because that's what really makes things change. After 29 degrees of Capricorn, you have 0 degrees of Aquarius. That's where shit gets different real fucking quick. It gets rebellious, revolutionary. And so this is the type of shit that breeds real change. This type of feeling where it's like, man, this shit is fucked up. Something has to give. And it will. But it also starts up here in your mindset. So yeah. What we gonna do? Hold up. Sorry. Trying to get the right light. Anyway. This feeling that we have is gonna breed change. It has to. Now, Chiron is at 21 degrees of Aries. And Jupiter is actually sextile to Chiron. And I wanted to leave this till we got to Chiron because when you see Jupiter sextile to Chiron right here, this is where people make mistakes. People say some shit that they shouldn't have said, and there might be a confrontation that comes from that. But this is also the type of stuff where if you're willing to hold yourself accountable through this, you get a better understanding of the situation moving forward. It takes a certain awareness and accountability, though. And sometimes that's forced. This is Chiron in Aries. And with this being sextile to Jupiter, and that being Jupiter and Gemini, this usually involves things people say, things you might have said, the way that you took something somebody else said. Now, appreciate it, ready. We be vibing. This is the Vibe Tribe for a reason. Now, the Black Moon Lilith, 10 degrees of Libra. We kind of already talked about it a little bit. It's just where people pleasing and manipulation is kind of running out here. This is where people smiling in your face but want to take your place. This is where you might be smiling in somebody's face but you want to take their space. And this is where people want relationships so bad that they're not respectful of anybody else's. Yeah, I know you. I see you too. Now, The North Node is at 5 degrees of Aries. That means the South Node is at 5 degrees of Libra. So this is just about honesty. It's about being action-oriented in your approach to life, in your growth process. It's about being you unapologetically, experiencing your truth as a verb. See, that's the thing. People are talking about speaking their truth. Nah, motherfucker, be the truth. I don't think you hear me, though. Be the truth. Don't just speak it. Now, here's where it gets interesting. As far as the numerology of the day, we're in the 2 vibration. But there is a 3 connotation to it. And I want you to listen to this because this makes perfect sense. First of all, how do you get to the 2? Well, it's September 30th, 2024. So September is the 9th month. You take that 9, you drop it down. There's no need to simplify that further. And then you look at the 30th. 3 plus 0 is 3. You take that 3, you drop it down. There's no need to simplify it further. Then 2024. Well, you have 20, which is 2. 2 plus 0 is 2. Then 24. So 2 plus 2 is 4. Plus 4 is 8. So you have 9 plus 3 plus 8. That's 20. 2 plus 0 is a 2. Now, what's interesting about this is in numerology, the 2 is actually ruled by the moon. But in my professional opinion, it's a lot more similar to Libra energy than anything else. Whereas the 6, even though it's ruled by Venus, is actually a lot more similar to Cancer energy. And so this is about our personal relationships. And ironically, as it sounds, Mercury is CaZiMi with the sun in Libra, right? But we also have the moon in Virgo. And so this is a perfect time for you to make somebody else feel good, make them smile. Like put a smile on somebody's face. This is the perfect day for you to do that by saying just the right thing. Put a smile on somebody's face. Help them get out of the darkness. Help them get the fuck about the darkness. And so hold up. I gotta go let my dog in. I'll be right back in 1 minute. I gotta let my dog in. I've been here 2 hours. We back. We got one more hour. Let's make it count. It's the greatest beat I ever made. Now, let me talk to y'all about some different numbers in numerology. I figured I was going to teach y'all a little something today. And so, let's first look at what the life path number is. For those of y'all that haven't gotten a numerology reading, let me tell y'all, there are several key numbers. It's not just your life path number. All right. Now, when it comes to the life path number, this just more or less tells us the path that we're on. That it's a lot like the sun sign in astrology because that's what you get labeled as. All right. And they say, well, you're a master number 11 like myself, or you're a 3. But it really tells you the path that you should take through life and the talents and skills that you should utilize in order to make this journey a rewarding one. That's what your life path is about. And so it's the gifts you've been given, but it's not just your personality per se. It's the path you're on. So if you're on a 3 path, you're on a path of creativity and fun and enjoyment and friendship and sociability. If you're on a 2 path, you're on a path of relationships. You're on a path of understanding people on a one-on-one basis, on helping people and being empathetic and being somebody who's there. But you have to manage your natural sensitivity to people. If you're on a 1 path, it's about being brave and courageous in who you are. Some people say, oh, the 1 is a leader. Yeah, the 1 is a leader, but it's because they're willing to go alone if they have to. And it doesn't mean that they're absent of fear. No, because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the willingness to keep going despite that fear. And so when you have that as 1, you're learning how to move fearlessly. And sometimes that means going alone, being the first one to do it, being a pioneer. That's the 1. When you're in a 4, it's about laying the foundation. It's about learning discipline and organization and being hardworking and then learning how to employ those skills to build something of lasting value for yourself. It's about learning how to take responsibility for your actions. But you think about the 4 legs of a table. That's what makes the table stable. And so it's about developing security and stability. And it's very similar to earth energy. When you're on a 5, the 5 is about risk taking and changes and freedom. And so the 5 is very similar to a mix of Sagittarius and Aquarius energy. All right. But a 5 is just, about it, taking everything as it comes. It's about enjoying life because your life is dynamic and then you go through a lot of changes. It's crazy. But it's also about developing your free will and being free to be who you are regardless of external circumstances. And so there's just this journey that goes on with the 5, but there's also a lot of unexpected stuff that only happens to them. Like their life is incredibly unique, and actually, a 5 life path means your life path might be composed of many different paths. All right, you have the 6, which is very interesting because, as I said of the 2 just a few minutes ago, the 6 is very similar to Cancer energy, but in Vedic numerology, the 6 is actually ruled by Venus, where the 2 is ruled by the moon. But this is about family and home and commitment and love and nurturing. All right, so it's learning to care about other people. It's about being supportive. It's about taking care of your family. It's about being in a committed relationship, probably a traditional marriage. That doesn't mean a man and woman. When I say traditional, I mean like a monogamous relationship. When it comes to the 7, this is a spiritual path. This is about introspection. This is when you look at the 7. The 7 is like a mix of Sagittarius and Capricorn and Pisces energy, because it is very spiritual, but it's also very serious. So serious that it can be isolated. And so they're here to find the truth of who they are and what their place is in this world. And sometimes that journey right there is isolating, and they can feel alienated. But that 7 is very serious. And then when it comes to the 8 is about empowerment. So if the 1 is a leader, the 8 is a boss. So how do you boss up in this life but still be a good person? And the 8 is about success. In Vedic numerology, the 8 is ruled by Saturn. That's why when this year started as 2024, they were like, oh, this year is ruled by Saturn. Karma's coming this year. Shut the fuck up. Karma comes every year. Karma comes every day. Karma comes every minute. Karma comes every second. But karma is happening. But anyway, when you're looking at the 8, that is about empowerment. It's about appreciation. It's about success. It's about infinity, having that infinite amount of will to keep pushing regardless of the circumstances externally, and being relentless in your approach. When you look at the 9 is like a mix of Virgo and Aquarius and Pisces energy in a way, because the 9 is spiritual and it is about service, but it's also about forgiveness and philanthropy. It's about humanitarianism. It's about learning to love unconditionally. And so you're going to see some heartbreak and some pain and some loss with the 9, but you have to learn how to keep loving regardless. And you're going to be giving a lot with the 9, but you're expected to give a lot. And you might do it directly through your touch, or you might inspire people through some type of art form. And speaking of inspiration, that's what the master number 11 is about. It's about inspiring people. You go through a lot and you become an inspiration. Take it from me, I am a master number 11. But you're here to be an inspiration to people for real. Like, for real. There's so much more to it, but you're magical, you're intuitive, you're empathetic. You have all of this with the 11, and that can be too much. You try to escape it. You want to do drugs and shit. The master number 11 is not easy to have. But through those experiences that you put yourself through trying to escape this divine perspective you have, you end up becoming an inspiration. And the master number 11 is tapped into that ancient knowledge. They have it inside of them. It's not that they just know things, they understand. And so this is something that I've always had, was the gift of understanding. I've always had the gift of understanding. My gift in astrology, it might be priceless knowledge of self, because this helps me understand myself. But there's lots of people who have knowledge and information, but what I have is understanding. I can show you how this actually works and affects you in real life. I talk about it all the time. I actually understand it. I don't just know it, I understand it. And then the master number 22, it's about building a legacy. It's not just building something of lasting value. It's about building a legacy and making something that helps other people. You have to understand those master numbers, they're going to have that fundamental energy of the number that they were reduced to. You understand? Or what I would call complete development of the traits associated with the numbers that they were reduced to. So with the master number 11, it's the 2. With the 22, it's the 4. With the 33, it's the 6. And so when you look at this right here in the master number 11, you see you have that fundamental 2, which is empathy and understanding of other people. But you also have that number 1, which is inspiration, leadership qualities. It's intuition. It's divine understanding. When you see the master number 22, they're disciplined, they're organized, they're hardworking, and then they also have a double dose of empathy for other people. So it's about, man, what can I build that's going to help other people? That's not just about me and my immediate family, but what can I do that's going to be a legacy for going on beyond my life, that's going to keep inspiring people or keep helping people. When you look at the 33, they go through some really hard lessons in life, and you know they're so creative. They're so creative, and they're like divine teachers, because through that 6, they have to nurture people through the things that they've learned. I'm going to protect you from going through the stuff that I went through. And so there's just this whole accumulation of karma that comes with that master number 33. It's like, man, this right here is where I kill something that's been a cycle in my family for years, or been a cycle in the world for years. This is where I bring a light, because I've been through so much. I have no choice but to be in. Now, that's the life path numbers. And I'm not going to go through all of the numbers of the rest of these, but you also have the life destiny, or the expression number. And that number just sheds light on the things that you need to accomplish in this life in order to be fulfilled. All right, that's one of the 5 core numbers: the life destiny or the expression number. So with this, a part of your destiny, and they go along with each other: the expression number, and the life path number. And so what you see with this is, and I said I wasn't good, but I always do overwork. When you see the 1, it's like your destiny is to lead people. In what way? Well, in the way that your life path is. If your life path number isn't also a 1, it might be a 3. So with your creativity, you're here to be somebody who blazes a trail, to make something new with your creativity, to try something different, or to just be a leader in that field. If it's a 2, you understand, you're a part of this of your life destiny is being somebody who can be involved with people one-on-one and helping them in this way, whatever your life path number is. The 3, you're here to learn how to enjoy your life, have some fucking fun, loosen up and have some fucking fun. With the 4, you need to tighten up, you need to get your shit together. When you want to see it with the 5, this is about developing your free will. You're going to be forced to, because your life is unique. And so in what way? Well, whatever your life path number is. And so you see that go on and so forth. And then you also have the soul number, or the soul urge number, or even the heart's desire number. And that's a lot like the moon sign in astrology, because that reveals your deepest desires and your innermost thoughts. It speaks of your private self. It speaks of your underlying motivations and your most ingrained attitude. And so that's a lot like the moon sign. And so that's who you are inside. And it also, for me, will give me a perspective of, about not exactly how old, but, whether you have an old soul or not, and what lessons you're here to learn. And so I'm the master number 11 with that also. And so I definitely have an old soul. But when you see these right there, you're going to see those soul numbers. That just kind of tells you who you are inside, separate from those projections fundamentally. So fundamentally, for me, I'm a master number 11. For some people, they have a 1. They have a warrior spirit. They have a warrior spirit. So they're courageous. And something inside of them is very dynamic. If they have a 2, they're somebody who really cares about other people. If they have a 3, they're creative soul. If they have a 4, they're very disciplined. They're hardworking. They're tough. They take things a certain way. If they have a 5, they're incredibly unique in a way. I mean, everybody's unique, but there's something with them that's just like needing freedom. It's like there's something in them that's rebellious. If when it's a 6, there's something in them that's domesticated. When it's a 7, there's something in them that's very introverted and very introspective, and there's something inside of them that's always soul searching and always trying to find out what the motivation is behind everything. When you have an 8, you have somebody who inside of them there's a lot of power simmering, but that can also be destructive, like a lot of Scorpio energy, for instance. When you have a 9, you have somebody who just they really care, they really do love people unconditionally. There's somebody who will bend over backwards to do anything to help people, but there's going to be hard lessons that's learned from that. When you have the master number 11, they're an old soul. There's somebody who is tapped into certain understanding and knowledge. So what they got to do is figure out some type of way that they can have this understanding that they have of things be something that helps other people. When you have master number 22 as your soul urge number, that means there's something inside of you that's always striving to do better, that's always striving to take it to the next level and push the envelope. When it's a 33 plus 6, there's just you're such an old soul. You have wisdom from the millennia inside of you, and it's just like it's heavy. And so you see that, and then after you have that number, you have the personality number. This is a lot like your ascendant or even your midheaven in certain instances, because this reveals the external you. These are the personality traits that other people come to know you by. But it can also signify your appearance or the image you present, as well as your personal appeal and the environments that you feel most comfortable operating in. And so you kind of see how that's the ascendant of the midheaven. This is how people perceive you, no matter who you are inside or what your projection. All right. But this is your outer personality, basically. Now, my personality number is a 1. I would look at that as Libra rising, but I do think that makes a lot of sense with my Leo in my 10th house. And so my life path number is the master number 11. My life destiny or expression number is 3. So my creativity, my communication skills. That's how I'm supposed to use that to help me with my master number 11. My soul urge or heart's desire number is the master number 11 also. That's who I am deep inside. This old soul who has wisdom that I'm trying to inspire people with. Kind of what we do here. Now, my personality number is a 1. So I have that dynamic leadership charisma. I have that, I just have that Leo energy. I would say the number 1 is a mix of Aries and Leo energy. And so I have that to me. And then after your personality number, you have your maturity number. And that's the energy that you're growing into. So this reveals the person that you're going to come to be in time, your true self. So this is the energy that you're going into. My maturity number is a 5. And so as I grow and mature, I probably break out of my shell more and more, and I become more eccentric than I ever have been before, because I'm breaking free of those projections and expectations. Really, you need to send me an email at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. That's MrTurner1300@gmail.com. Because I'll tell you this, and I usually don't speak my prices, but I'll tell you this one time. For numerology readings, for an audio recording right now, for Vibe Tribe, for somebody who ever seeing this live, and this price isn't going to go on for long, it's $77. That's 30 minutes long of me going through all your numbers. And not just these numbers, but it's also your 4 pentacles. Those are the periods of your life. We'll talk about that here in a second. It's also the 4 challenges. It's the 3 cycles of your life. It's your karmic lesson numbers. If you have a karmic debt, I'll be assessing your karmic debt. It's your lucky number, your signature number, your birthday number. It's me telling you what personal year you're in this year, what personal month number you're in this year. I go through all of that. Those are packed with information. And so for now, the audio recording is $77. To get on the phone and talk about it is like $100, $111. That's like a 45-minute conversation. And then for a Zoom session, I probably do that for, which is, video conference. That's like $151 just for that, and that's just for the people that are seeing this. So send me an email. Anyway, when it comes to the maturity number, that's just the energy that you're growing into over time. Mine is a 5. So I'm gonna break free from projections and expectations of all the shit from when I was a kid and the shit I was conditioned to portray myself to be because of my upbringing. And I would come into my own. And I help other people come into their own. And I have a youthful spirit no matter what, is what that means. And people will always find that youthful spirit irresistible in me. Now, the next number is called the balance number. And this number is very interesting. Because as long as your life is on an even or uplifting keel, then that balance number is going to remain relatively dormant in your life. However, in those times where your life is out of order, that balance number is going to become central to resolving the turmoil that you're experiencing. And so what you do is use that balance number to help you figure out the best way for you to operate in times of trouble in your life. My balance number is also a 5. So I have to think outside of the box. And I have to be calm and just confront whatever changes are going about. I have to release the illusion of control. Now, you also have 4 pinnacle periods in numerology, in every numerology reading, if you got one from anybody who's worth a fuck. And so what you have in those 4 pinnacles these are themes or times in your life. And so the first pinnacle begins at birth and lasts until around the age of 27. And then that second pinnacle lasts for the next 9 years after that. The third pinnacle lasts for 9 years after that second pinnacle has passed, whereas that fourth pinnacle picks up where the third pinnacle ends and lasts throughout the rest of your life, however long you're blessed to be here. So just to put it into perspective, the first is from birth to your late 20s. The second one is from your late 20s to your mid to late 30s. The third one is from your mid to late 30s through your mid 40s. And the fourth one is from your mid 40s throughout the rest of your life, however long you're blessed to be here. And so what you see with each one of those pinnacles is you're going to see what type of vibe or what type of uh, energy you're dealing with during that time of your life or you're working with, because you also have 4 challenges that occur at the same time frame as the 4 pinnacles, and these are the energies that you're gonna have to work through. So you work with the pinnacle energy as you work through the challenge, and then after that you have 3 cycles of your life, and those are kind of like Saturn cycles in astrology, because those occur in 28-year periods. So the first one is called the harvest cycle. No, the seed cycle. I think I'm getting them all mixed up. I forgot which one they are, but the 3 cycles. I have it written down on my prompt, but I got all off with that. You have 3 cycles of your life, and those occur in 28-year periods, like Saturn cycles in astrology, almost. And then after that, you have karmic lesson numbers, and we've talked about karmic lesson numbers here. And karmic lesson numbers just reveal the stuff that we need to work on in this life. So these are the areas of our life that we need to grow in. So this is the stuff that doesn't come naturally to us. And you calculate karmic lesson numbers by seeing the numbers that are missing from a person's name at birth. And the average number of karmic lesson numbers is 2, but I've seen somebody have as many as 6 or 7. All right. I have 4. The average is 2, but I just have done a couple of readings with people who have 5 and 6 here recently. And I think it's possible to have 7, but 8 is unrealistic. And so what's cool also is if one of your 5 core numbers is the same as one of those karmic lesson numbers, and that number, the importance of that number is naturally reduced because you're already working on it naturally. You did. And then karmic debts are just a lot more crucial than that. Karmic debts signify egregious mistakes that we've made in our past, or probably in past lives, that we have to atone for in this life. So these signify abuses of our talents that we have to make amends for. Look, most people don't have karmic debts, but some do. I do. Some of y'all do, but not everybody will. And when it comes to karmic lesson numbers, out of the thousands of numerology charts that I've done, I've probably only seen one that doesn't have any karmic lesson numbers. Only one. But karmic debts, those are a lot less common. And there are only 4 karmic debts. There are 13, 14, 16, and 19. And they do have a hierarchical order, meaning 19 is the highest karmic debt, 13 is the lowest. And I have a karmic debt 19, believe me. Then you also have a 10. And a 10 isn't a karmic debt, but if you calculate a 10 in somebody's numbers, that means that ultimately they actually have everything they need to pay back their karmic debt. They just have to choose to do so. You can't waste your time. Can't waste your time. But yeah, after that, you have lucky numbers. Now, a person's lucky number is never going to change. That number is lucky for them throughout their whole life. But the luck derived from that number is going to be strongest when they're addressing events and issues related to the general meaning of that number. And you should never use your lucky number to consistently try to make high-risk gambles, because it ain't your lucky lotto number. It just simply means wherever that number appears, you're going to have an edge. Now, how large of an edge is impossible to determine, but it does seem to increase with the number of occurrences that your lucky number is associated with any given event, issue, or situation. You feel me? And then -2. And then you have signature numbers. The signature number is based on how you sign your name. See, your signature is going to carry the power or the fault of one of those base 9 numbers. So as I tell y'all in y'all's numerology readings, you can actually sign your name a different way to reap a different benefit of a different number. For instance, if you're signing an agreement of partnership, like a marriage license, you might want to alter your signature to reflect the powers of the number 2. But if you're signing something that was about gaining independence, you would want it to be a 1. If you were doing something that involves creativity, you want it to be a 3. If you're laying a foundation or you're doing something in the financial enterprise, you would want it to be a 4 because you want it to be stable. If you were doing something that involved change, you would want it to be a 5. If it was involved your home and your family, you would want it to be a 6. If it was a legal matter, you would want to change your signature to reflect the powers of the number 7. If it involved empowerment or promotion, you want it to be an 8. If it involved philanthropy or humanitarianism or even the closing out of a bill process, you would want it to be a 9. All right. And then you also have birthday numbers, and that's your birthday. Like I'm born on the 26th, so my birthday number is an 8. And so I have the energy of the 8 that I carry with me also. And the birthday number is not the most important number, but it is very influential between your 28th and your 56th birthday. And your birthday number is one of your 5 core numbers. And so then after that, you have personal year number, personal month number. Personal year number tells you what's happening in your life this year. So you use that number to help you avoid setbacks and focus your energy on those areas of your life where you're most likely to achieve success this year. And then you do the same thing with the personal month number. It only applies to the current month. You feel me? So I told y'all about all the fucking numbers in the numerology reading. Does anybody have any questions? We got about 30 minutes before we go. I just shared some knowledge with y'all for real today. Get the fucking super sticker, the super thanks, and the super chat before I get mad and go home. Bye. funny. My moon is in the 5th house. I'll always be playful. I appreciate you, really. But yeah, my moon's in the 5th house. I'm always gonna be a playful person. I always have been. I'm mischievous than a motherfucker too, though. Like, it was an everyday occurrence growing up. I hear my daddy say, "God damn, Roderick, you play too fucking much. I should have fucking shot your ass in a napkin or on your mama's back. All you do is fucking play. Can't wait till you to move out of my house." That's the type of shit my dad used. But I used to fuck with him when he was smoking crack. Like, for real. I remember one time he was in there in his room, and I used to know he was going to get that shit, so I go hide in his room. Like, man, this motherfucker finna come in here and smoke dope. I would be a teenager, so I go hide in his room, in his closet. And he'd go in there, and I'd see him light that shit up and hit that shit one time. I wanted to wait for him to get high, so he has to let that first hit get in him. And then I'll just pop out the closet on his ass. Ah! He goes, ah! And throw the pipe. He'd throw the pipe. And then he'd just start cussing me out. God damn. You gonna have to get the fuck out of my house today. Fuck you. All you do is fucking play, you a bitch. Why are you talking to your son like that over some drugs? You a bitch. Huh? Knew I shouldn't have ever had kids with no white woman. That's what he used to say. He used to talk to me bad. You getting the fuck out of here. You got to leave. You got to get the fuck out of my house. I'm finna call your Uncle Bill. You can go live with your Uncle Bill for all I give a fuck. I'll pop out on his. He'd talk so bad to me. All I did was play, though. He shouldn't have been smoking that shit. Fucked up my whole life with that shit. And I didn't smoke it. I'm saying he fucked up my life. But yeah, that shit was crazy.
You ain't gotta go through all that shit. Then I choose you.
He used to talk bad to me.
Be cool, baby. Be cool, baby. Mr. Pretty Tony. I mean, you know the rules of the game. I mean, your bitch just.
The Black Moon Lilith is conjunct George in the 10th house. What type of energy would that bring you? Sexy energy in a way, kind of, but also manipulative. It might be some hating. Somebody might be hating on you because you bad. You know, all of that type of shit. In the 10th house, it might bring some hate, but also it makes you a lot more visible. Makes you a lot more sexy. When you are a lot more visible and a lot more sexy, then you're gonna have a lot more haters. And so it's gonna be some bitches hating on you. You understand? People hating because you are more powerful than ever, more beautiful than ever, more alluring than ever. All of that. Now they salty. So yeah, all of that. I gotta fix my post. Yeah, they might be just some haters, but you might be so fine that you get yourself in some trouble. You got a man? Do you got a man? That's the question, and I'm not asking for person, because I wouldn't give a fuck if you did or not. Oh, that's Lilith and Libra. But anyway, They in my group asking some dumbass questions. Just saying, you might, yeah, you got your girlfriend's birthday. Yeah, it might be some bitches looking upside your head like, damn, look at Nessa. Nessa the finesse. He said, how's my dad's health? It's fucked up. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a while. He doesn't talk to me unless he's in the hospital. We're not on the best of terms at the moment. I love him, but we're not at the best of terms at the moment. Because of something he did. We had one of those things where some trauma came up, some family drama because of some trauma that he caused, and something where he was inappropriate and abuseful. And he called me and asked me for help. And I mean, I couldn't help him at that time. I gave him a little bit of help as far as some money, but um, basically he was just talking to me about the situation that he's in, and I had to be harsh and tell him, bro, you did it. Like, I understand that you want sympathy, but you also got to, and I'm going to look out for you, but I'm not because not because I have sympathy for you, because you did what they're accusing you of. You did it. You were inappropriate and abusive. And so as much as traumatic as it is, it was when Jupiter was on my Chiron too. Interesting, but like, bro, you did it. Like, you really, you were inappropriate sexually, and you were abusive. And so what they're accusing you of, you did. So I'm going to help you because I'm your son and I love you. And so I will give you some money so that you can eat. But I'm not going to support you in eluding something that you yourself caused for you. And even with his health, that's on him. My dad, he's on dialysis 4 times a week. He has to go get over 2 liters of fluid pumped off his stomach because of his liver also being in cirrhosis. At least once every other week, he has to get his stomach drained from all of that fluid, and he just keeps using drugs. And so, what am I supposed to do? Because when he dies, he's going to be dead, and we're going to all be left here with the pain and all of this other burden that he leaves on us, because he's never done anything to help us. It's not like he's set up himself to have some type of insurance or have something that's going to be able to get us through if once that happens. And so with him, he's not thinking about that. And that's what sucks, is when he dies, all we're going to be left with is the pain and the feeling and the burden and all this other shit, and he's going to be dead. And he's deliberately disrespecting his medical process, and eventually he's going to go in there and they're going to tell him, hey, there's nothing we can do for you, Jesse. There's nothing we can do. You're going to have to put you on hospice. Dialysis is not working anymore for you, or it's just not an option for you moving forward. You're never going to get a transplant, so we have to think about something else. He will never be a quality. What's the word I'm looking for? Man, what's the word I'm looking for? A candidate for a transplant. That's just the real.
Now we can settle this like we got to. Does everyone need an audition to get with you? You ain't got to go through all that shit. Does everyone need an audition to get with you?
Yeah.
You ain't got to go through all that shit.
That's sad, but it's true.
Then I choose you. Be cool, baby. Mr. Pretty Tony. I mean, you know the rules of the game. I mean, your bitch just chose me. Now we can settle this like we got some clans, so we can get into some gangsters. Hey, tree nigga. You ain't no pimp.
questions or anything y'all want to talk about before we go? We got 20 minutes to do whatever. So I'm here to answer any questions or just chop it up with you. I will not be here tomorrow. I have some other obligations I'm going to do tomorrow. I will be here on Wednesday. Well, I might come tomorrow, but I probably won't. I'll probably be live in one of my groups tomorrow. So if you want to see me live, come catch me in Star tomorrow. Y'all make sure y'all click on the link right there. That's pinned. And go check out Blue Aliens. And use the promo code PrIcElEs. They got the awesome astrology shirts. They got crystals. They got THCA gummies. I think they got shrooms, all types of shit. So go check them out. Use promo code PrIcElEs. Get 15% off your order, and that puts a little bit of money in my pocket. You motherfucker too. What is Lilith trying to send me? Nothing. Not a lot. It means your shadow is pretty well integrated in your character. You understand your flaws naturally. You're not somebody who's tripping. You know that there's two sides to you. That's what that would basically mean. It means you're comfortable with your sexuality also. Tells me you got a little hope to you and you know it. You got a little hope to you and you know it, man. Not hoe like a hoe ass nigga. You know we ain't that. But you got a little hope to you and you know it. You got a little dog in you. But yeah, we know you. Anthony got that Venus in Gemini. He know he ain't shit. He know it. If you're trifling, you know it. Send a super chat. My bad, my bad. My bad. Oh, he a Libra Venus. My bad, my bad. I thought he was Gemini Venus. You have Lilith trying your sun. What's that like? I mean, it's just Lilith trying your sun. It means that once Lilith is trying, like your ascendant, it's like your Lilith ain't fucking up your image. It's just, like that's part of the allure. You got a little something to you to where I wouldn't say darkness, but just that there's a certain dynamic that's a part of your personality that people appreciate that's genuine because there's something there that's not perfect. With Lilith trying to the sun, there's just parts of you can't hide. There's some stuff that you can't hide. And so yes, you're sociable and you can be superficial and all that other shit, but I mean, you're not fake about that. Yes, you do care about looks. But yeah, Lilith aspects don't really mean much. Your Lilith, unless it's exactly conjunct something, or making something. But I would say it's worth looking at. But I never really give interpretations of Lilith aspects. I'll tell you about your Lilith placement because that is very prominent for some people. But I never give. I never just, even in the readings I do, I don't just tell people their Lilith placement unless they ask me. You have to specifically ask me to talk about Lilith and Chiron, because I won't just offer that information, because sometimes that's disrespectful, because some people have been through some really harrowing abuse, And so even though I can see that, and I've never been wrong, I don't want to be the type of person to say, "Oh yeah, I can see that your father sexually abused you," because sometimes that's ripping the Band-Aid off a wound that they were not comfortable with you in that way yet. And so if that's something that they ask about, of course I will speak on. But if they don't ask, I'm not going to speak. That's not something I offer out of courtesy professionally. But I would just say with me knowing your Lilith is in Libra in the 10th house, you get so caught up in looks and the appearance of things. You care what other people's opinion is of you way too much. And you can be pretty superficial sometimes. You do it is frustrating for you. I don't know why that's funny to me, but yeah, that's funny. Super funny. Yeah, you care what people think way too much. And people might be like, "Man, look at this fake ass bitch." Oh, that laugh. That was the fucking Vince Vaughn laugh. But yeah, like, man, this bitch is fake. And you don't mean to be. You're just nice and polite, but that's not really you, though. Because you really don't like bitches. But you just be like, "Hey, girl," and all this shit. But be like, "Look at this bitch, bro." Yeah, I know. You be like, "Hey," you like, "Hey, girl," you just be nice to people. And you don't even like people. You don't even fuck with them. And people can tell that, like, this bitch is fake. Yeah, I know you. I always know that. And you be comparing yourself to people a little bit. It's not in the same way as Capricorn. It's just like you're very fond of comparison. So you just be like, that bitch can't fuck with me. You be smiling, but it's be like, you really be like, that bitch can't fuck with me. And you be like, I'm better than her. you just be on some more shit. Yeah, I know you. We got 13 more minutes. Let's make them count. Yeah. Yeah, I know you. You can't hide from me. I'm the best at this. You can't hide from me. Does anybody else have any questions before we go? We got 11 more minutes. Asaya, you ready for your next reading? Are you here? Are you ready for your next reading? Oh, there's the sunlight kissing me. Kiss me. No. Does Moon conjunct Lilith mean anything? Yeah, it means you really fucked up inside. Hell yeah, it means something. And we know you fucked up. But no, that could mean a lot. Moon conjunct Lilith could mean that you had a crazy relationship with your mom or one of your parents, or you could one of them wasn't around. Moon conjunct Lilith just means inside of you, like sometimes you don't even trust yourself. When the moon is conjunct Lilith, it's like you don't even trust yourself sometimes because there's something inside of you that's savage, fucking savage, and you know it's there. I know it's there. I can see it. I can sense it. Sensate. Yeah. We got 8 minutes. Let's make it go. Then I'll be back on Wednesday. And then I'll be back again on Friday. I'm going to hit Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week. I'm usually going to try to keep those the days unless I have a lot of readings to do. Then I won't come on Mondays. But Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Tuesdays and Thursdays, sometimes I come, but I'm probably going to start doing those in those groups. Maybe on Twitch. Maybe I'll do those as creative development days and recording days for me to record pre-recorded videos. But I'll be here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Unless there's some type of astrological event I need to address, and then I'll be here as the vibe carries me. Thank you for sending me that money, that John Sturgis on CashApp. The rest of y'all niggas should follow suit. Or be soup. I'm about to get to go to Walmart. Our car's been messed up for a month. It's been in the shop for almost a whole month. Cost thousands of dollars to get fixed. Our whole fucking savings. But we get it back today. We broke that motherfucker, but we get it back. And then I have to go get something from Walmart. And we haven't gotten to go to Walmart so long. I'm actually excited. Like, hell yeah, nigga, we going to Walmart, nigga. To Wally World, nigga. To the world of Wally. Oochie Wally Wally. Oochie Bang Bang. Going to the toy section, nigga. Buy some dog treats, nigga. Yeah. You got 6 more minutes. Speak now or forever hold your peace. We got all this Libra energy. I'm trying to think what I'm going to wear on Wednesday. What am I going to wear? Nothing. I'm matching all the way down from this cardigan to the shirt underneath to my pants, my socks. I have gray Scrabble socks on. My glasses frames is gray. I don't play. Yeah, I'm on some true Libra shit. And don't ever say some light skin shit because I'll slap the shit out of you. Yeah. I'm that type of light skin. I'm a Texas light skin. We a little different. And I ain't just light skin. I'm biracial. Appreciated that guy, AJ87. You fucking with a tiger. 1986. Yeah. The year of the fire tiger. Something to fire up for you. I hope somebody at least smiled today. I'll stick these off. See, that's why my eyes be low. Y'all see all them lights? Anyway, what's up, Alex Nags? My man. What's up, cuss? You caught us at the end. We got 2 minutes to go, and then I'm out. I appreciate all y'all's love and support. If you're interested in any astrological readings whatsoever, don't ever get at me in my comments. Get at me in my motherfucking email. That's Mr.Turner1300@gmail.com. That's MR.Turner1300@gmail.com. That's for natal chart readings, solar return readings, synastry readings, Pluto through Aquarius transit journey readings, numerology readings. Those all come in either audio recording, phone call interactive, or Zoom interactive sessions. I also offer hour-long blocks of consultations to where we can talk about whatever it is you need to talk about and want to talk about. I'm also offering a PrIcElEs package. This is a 3-month commitment where we talk once a week for an hour. And we're going to go over all of the numerology that we need to go over as far as your numbers that are upcoming, but there's really only one a month, so you don't have to look at that. But we can look for every day and see how that influences you. And then we will also look at your transits for that week astrologically, and I'll be able to give you insight on what's going on with those, and we can talk about whatever as far as counsel. And that will be an hour a week on the phone. Or Zoom if you would prefer Zoom. But yeah, I'm offering the PrIcElEs package, so that's beautiful. I'm also looking to take on one more apprentice. That's an hour and a half a week commitment for 11 classes, but there's going to be way more weeks than that because we're going to have reading sessions, and that's just a lesson. But once we have a lesson, we might have 1 or 2 reading sessions to make sure that you got that lesson down and you understand what I was conveying in that material, and you were developing your own understanding that's outside of any projections that I put onto you. I'm going to teach you how to do it and give you the tools to do so, but I want you to develop your understanding so that you are your own reader, not just regurgitating what I say. And so I'm looking to take on one more apprentice, but those 2 services, they're priceless. They ain't cheap, but it's definitely worth it. So get at me for the 3-month package, the PrIcElEs package, or the apprenticeship, or whatever we need. I appreciate your love and support. If you have anything else to say, we got 1 minute before I go. I love you. I appreciate you tuning in today. We'll be back on Wednesday for sure with something priceless to keep your hump day jumping. We'll be talking about the eclipse that we will be in already when I come on Wednesday. You see, as soon as I come on Wednesday, we're going to be in that eclipse energy. Yeah. The solar eclipse. Conjunct to the black moon Lilith. Thank you, Vanessa. I know your secrets now, Vanessa. I know your secrets, Nessa. I know your secrets. Y'all crazy. Yeah. Look, my dog is barking at me, telling me to get the fuck off live. I gotta go.